What's up, everyone? You've got Arleos the blacksmith here, and the first farming video that I released for the gathering professions was very well received, and by popular demand I am now making another one, which is more looking at the auction house and professions. So to go ahead and get started, first things first, if you've never used the auction house, it can be a scary place, so I am going to start by going over a few things which should help you not lose money on the auction house. Right, let's get into it. So first thing you're going to need are some add-ons. If you don't want to use add-ons, playing with the auction house is probably not for you. So you can do little things on the auction house, but you're not going to make a large amount of money without some add-ons to help you on your way. So there are two different types of add-ons that you can use, or two main add-ons that people do use. The first one is TSM, Trade Skill Manager, which is a very popular and very powerful add-on. I do not use TSM myself. The reason for that, it makes my auction house UI look very ugly. And apparently that's a big deal to me. So I don't do a lot of different things on the auction house, so I kind of keep to my main things that I like. I don't really go looking for new things to sell very often. But Trade Skill Manager is super popular if you don't mind the difference in the UI. It tracks a lot of things. So after a few weeks of using it and getting some data in there, it's going to point you towards some things that can help you make some money. And just in case you guys are wondering, what does Arleos know about the auction house? If I look at my statistics page here, what do I have? My gold earned from auctions. This is, 241 million. Now most of that's from the beginning of Shadowlands onwards. So Shadowlands was a big gold earner. Right now we're looking at mid-February 2023, and the mass amount of gold, it's not really there. So you're not going to be making millions of gold every day like it was possible before. There are still some ways that you can make some chunks of gold, but I mean you're not going to be pumping out 200 million gold. Okay. So the second add-on, which is the one that I use, and I find it's better for kind of small-time people who aren't trying to see everything that's going on in the auction house, I use Auctionator. So we do have an option to scan the auction house. It just kind of catalogs the prices, and it helps you keep track of what they were at. So, a few things that we're going to talk about that are going to hopefully help you stop from losing large amount of gold is called baiting, is the first one. So what baiting is, there are people around that will take a fairly, I don't want to say expensive item, but they'll put one of that item up for a third, a tenth, or a 1/100th of the price of that item, in hopes that when you are posting your items, you're going to put them up for that low price before you realize that it's a bait, and they'll be able to buy them back quickly. So if I look right now, I see the Ceravite Ore 2 is at 39 silver. Oh, it's already gone. So someone's trying to bait this down from 2.5 gold to 39 silver for some reason. So what'll happen, people are putting it up so quickly. Let's say you're just going to paste your ore. Make sure you pay attention to the price when you're selling things. You'll be able to see everything that's listed, and if it looks like there's a few items that are just half or a 1/100th of the price, make sure you don't post them for that price, or someone's going to scoop them up really quickly, and they'll be gone. So that is how some people actually make money on the auction house. I personally don't condone or enjoy exploiting the game in that way, because it really, when you're on the other end of it, if you're pasting you've gone out farming for the day, you're finally putting up your haul to sell to somebody, and instead of putting it up for 5 gold 57 silver, you accidentally put it up for 5 silver each, then someone's gone ahead and made all the money from your hard work farming. So make sure when you're selling off your materials, you're being very mindful of what the prices are. There are also some weekly trends that you'll come to know. Like on a Tuesday, reset days tend to be the higher price days, better time for selling, because everyone's opening their vault, they're buying enchants, they're getting gear crafted. So there are some trends that you'll tend to notice where prices go up and down. So maybe you don't just sell your items right away, but once you get familiar with where the prices are and what they should be, then it's I guess some powerful information to have. So looking at Auctionator, I do have an option for looking at price history for anything I might want to sell. Now, if I look at price history, this is going to just look at a grab of when I actually did a scan, and it's probably going to show the lowest price of the day. So if there are people baiting down prices, actually, Kazgrite's not a good example. Let's look at, there we go. Let's look at Ceravite Ore. So if you look, it really throws off the trend of my price history, where it's showing a gold each or 40 silver each. That's the lowest price that I scanned for that day. when realistically the prices were quite a bit higher than that. So number 2, we're probably somewhere around like 4-ish gold back in January, but these are all showing 1 gold because there's always somebody trying to bait the prices down lower. What about number 3? Yeah, same thing here. So back in January, these were all showing 1 gold, when really they're more like 4 to 7. Actually, I think, yeah, January were probably 8+ gold each that they were actually selling for. So be very mindful of the prices, and this is just something that will help you keep track of at least the prices that you're seeing, and making sure that you're not selling them too cheaply. So one thing that you're going to want to take advantage of is using the favorites tab in the auction house. So you'll see here that I have a whole bunch of items saved. So these are my go-to items, either things that I farm or just things that I watch for the prices on. And it's really handy to keep track of them just by clicking your little star favorites, and it's going to show you at a quick glance everything that you've saved. So in order to save an item here, you will search it in the auction house. Well, this one has 3 different qualities, so you can click which quality you want to see by clicking on this little star next to it, the favorite star. If the star is filled in gold, then it's added to your favorites. If it's not gold, it will not be on your favorites. So you want to build a list of things that you're watching. I am a miner, so I was farming a lot of things to sell for mining, and that's why I'm watching a lot of these prices, just to see where they're high, where they're low, and when it's a good time to sell. So make sure you're not getting caught on anyone baiting. That's really going to make you have a bad day if you end up selling your items for a lot cheaper than they should be going for. Another thing to consider is the auction house tax. So the auction house is going to keep 5% of whatever you're selling. So if you sell something for 100 gold, then they're going to keep 5 gold of that 100 gold. So that's something to keep in mind when you're selling an item. Here's an example of one that I was selling. So Grift is all-purpose embellishing powder. This is something that people need to remove embellishments from their gear, and you buy it from 50 gold for 50 gold each from the vendor. So yeah, where is it? Way over in the Obsidian Citadel. There's a vendor where you can buy this for 50 gold each. Now it was something that was selling for 120, 130 gold each, but now someone's gone and put up a very large amount of it, 88,000 gold worth of it for $49.99. Which you'd think, well, $49.99, they're almost making their gold back, but really they're losing 5% of that as well. So for every one of those they sell, they're losing like 2.5 gold. So they're really getting just over 47 gold each for the 50 gold that they've spent. So they're taking a loss of 3 gold on every one of these. And someone's done this, I believe, just so that nobody can make money off of this particular powder. So somebody, likely a crafter, said, hey, I don't want people to have to pay extra to get this item done, and they've gone ahead and tanked the prices, so it's really not worth buying them to resell them. Whereas before, when they were 100 gold each, 120 gold each, you're at least making some money to try to resell them. So keep that in mind when you're reselling things. If you're going to buy something low and resell it high, keep in mind you're losing 5% when you sell it. The next thing we'll look at are the deposits. So let's just try to put any item up here. So you'll notice there's a deposit amount here. So 12 hours, 24 hours, and 48 hours are the durations that you can use. And for each different duration, you'll notice that the deposit is higher the longer that you keep it on the auction house. So with a lot of things, I'm trying to think if it's something that might be good to keep on for 48 hours. If there's something that's very low volume and not a lot of competition, then it might be good to set the duration for longer. That also depends on how often you want to maintain your auctions. But if you're trying to make money, you're probably going with a 12-hour to keep your deposit as low as possible, and you're going to be doing a cancel scan, which means you're going to... Actually, I'll just show you what a cancel scan is. So it will take everything that you've got posted on the auction house. It will scan it to see if anyone's posted it either for the same price but ahead of you, or for a lower price. I guess that's one thing I should mention if you're brand new. You no longer have to lower the price if you want to beat somebody out on an auction. So it's whoever puts the auction up the most recent, so whoever puts the auction up last will sell it first. So if you put your auction up at 9 o'clock in the morning, and then somebody comes at 9:05 a.m. and they put their auction up for the exact same thing, their auction will sell before yours. So that's why people do a cancel scans. They will take their items down and repost them to make sure they're always on top of the stack and that their items are selling first. So in order to do a cancel scan, this is where the add-ons come in. If you want to use the Blizzard default UI to cancel an item, you have to click on the item, you have to click on cancel, then you have to hit accept. So there's a lot of steps to canceling an item. So it's not just a quick click, 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 click. So if you were to do that for one at a time, especially when you start getting a lot of items on the auction house, it's really going to eat up a lot of your time. It's not going to be efficient at all. So for Auctionator specifically, the one that I'm using right now, there is a tab called Canceling, and I'm going to hit Undercut Scan. This means that it's going to go ahead and scan to see if anyone's undercut any of the items that I have posted. So there's a few of them. If they're highlighted, that means that they've been undercut. If not, then not. So there is an option to cancel undercut, so you could actually remove everything that's been undercut. I don't do that. I'm selling a few profession tools right now, and I don't want to actually have all of my items on the top stack because somebody else is probably just going to top stack me again. So I really only do 1 or 2 on top stack so that I'm not wasting all my deposit gold, because every time you pull an item back down, it's going to use your deposit. So if it's costing me 6 gold to keep one of these on the auction house, every time I take it down, it's costing me 6 gold. So something to keep in mind to, again, make sure that you're still maintaining a profit. So to cancel it with this add-on, it's a one-click. So I just click, canceled. And then I can walk over to my mailbox. And there's an option to open all, which will open all your mail. I'm just doing a small example here, so I manually click them out of the mailbox. And we are going to repost them on the auction house now. So with Blizzard, unfortunately, everything that has a different item level, especially profession tools, it's always going to default your price to whatever the lowest price is for the lowest item level. Or not necessarily the lowest item level, but the lowest price. So I'm putting up a 346 item, which the least expensive 346 item is 705 gold. But someone has some 326 items with the same name up for 57 gold. So by default, it's trying to put it up for 57 gold. You want to be very careful that you're not accidentally putting your higher item level item up for the lower price. So really keep in mind, make sure you're keeping an eye on what the prices are, or you'll end up losing some gold. Okay, so let's put those items back on the top stack. You can see someone's got theirs in between mine that are pasted. And if we do another cancel scan, I'm on kind of a lower population server, and I'm also not doing a lot of auction housing right now. As you can see, I've only got one page with a few tools that are up right now. So I don't have a lot of people that are pasting on top of me constantly. If you're ever doing things like enchanting, anything that's really needed on a Tuesday, you're going to notice that the cancel scans on those get pretty crazy. I was doing some Sophic Devotion enchants earlier, and that was pretty hectic. So that was like, I don't know, every 5 seconds you'd paste a new one on the auction house just to make sure that you're maintaining a top stack. And then from there, you're canceling the ones as they're getting buried. So that was extremely competitive this morning, but the Sophic Devotion enchants were going for quite a lot. Yeah, they're down to 9,000. They were at 14,000 this morning. But just for some context, those were down to 6,000 yesterday. So on Tuesdays, that's kind of the time that you're looking at reselling. Now, if you're wanting to get into the auction house purely for making money, you're likely going to need some capital to start. So if you don't have any gold, it might be best for you to start with one of the gathering professions to make some money. Although right now, at least the time that you have to put in to farm for gold is quite high. So before we used to be making 100,000 gold an hour. The how-to video that I posted just a few weeks ago, we were looking at around 50k an hour. And right now that's dropped probably by almost another 50%. So you're probably looking at something like 30k an hour for a good farm. And that's with mining and herbalism. So if you haven't already seen that video and you're interested in checking it out, then feel free to go to my other gold farming video. That one is just for the gathering professions. Yeah, so you're going to need some seed money to start. And a lot of the money making on the auction house right now is buying low and selling high. So one thing that I watch out for are any kind of consumables, so something that you might use in raid, or something that is going to be more popular at the start of the week than at the end of the week. A good thing for me is Vantis runes. This is not the character that I watched them on, but what are we looking for? Vault of the Incarnates. So Vantis rune for Vault. Okay, so we're down to 5 gold for a 1-star, 21 gold for a 2-star, and 570 gold for a 3-star. So the 2-stars are what I was looking at yesterday. I actually bought several thousand of these for 8 gold each. And now they're, well, I did resell them for 66 gold this morning, but now they're back down to 21 gold. But even 8 gold each, and then now reselling them for 21 gold, that's quite the markup. So depending on what kind of money you have to invest, It's extremely risky, I will say, because you can buy up, like even this, what do I have? I can spend 50,000 right now, buy all of those up and repost them for 50, where I'm basically doubling my money. So I'm turning 49,000 gold into essentially 100,000 gold. But all it would take would be for one person who bought them like I did at 8 gold yesterday and drive that price rate back down to 21 gold, and they're still making money. So it is risky. It depends on how many other people are doing this. I will say there is gold to be made. It depends on how much you want to risk. So if you're playing with the auction house, there is the opportunity to make a lot of gold, but there's also an opportunity to lose a lot of gold. So I will say don't play with any gold that you don't have to lose. So if you're really strapped for cash, maybe using the auction house is not the best way for you to get some money, because it can go poorly and you can end up losing your gold very easily. So if you've got millions of gold to play with, it's not as big of a deal. And that's normally where you see these big swings in material prices. You'll see somebody who's got millions of gold come and buy things up and start to make their gold back on it, because they've got that kind of cushion where they can risk losing it. It's just a lot of watching. With the TSM add-on, again, I don't have that one installed right now, but it's got a lot more analytics for tracking the trending of the prices and how much you're actually selling. So you can kind of have a report over the past 7 days and what you're making. All kinds of really handy stuff like that. Whereas with Auctionator, I pretty much use this add-on only for the cancel scan, because I've got a Google Doc that I use where I kind of keep track of all the prices of things that I'm selling. I update my prices manually. It doesn't automatically update it with an add-on, and I keep track of it that way. But I'm a little bit old school, and I mean, I'm not using the more powerful add-on simply because I don't like the way that it looks. So that's not a very good reason to not use it right now. But if I were looking at still getting really serious into the auction house again, that's the add-on to use, because it's just a little bit more powerful than what Auctionator is. Another handy thing, as I did kind of mention that I do this with professions right now. So while I'm looking at posting a few things on the auction house, I'm actually a blacksmith on Arleos, and I take advantage of people looking for crafts. So on a Tuesday, or really any time, if you're sitting around the auction house, it's probably something where you're kind of got an hour or two to waste. This is what you do. Instead of out hunting for nodes, you're sitting here scanning the auction house to see if anyone's posted over you, reposting your auctions, looking for new items that you can make some money on, or maybe you're just watching, something, you're streaming something, and you're kind of half paying attention to the game, scanning every few minutes. So this is, I will say, the less time-intensive way, a less focused way of farming some gold. But I like to use my professions. I can see my trade channel. I've got 2 monitors, so if I'm streaming something on my other monitor, it's really easy to see if someone's looking for anything that I can craft. But being able to craft weapons to 418 level is extremely important right now, because there's always people looking for crafts. And I would say the normal amount of tip to expect for crafting items is anywhere from 1,000 to 10,000 gold. I do have some people that'll tip higher than that. Sometimes I'm looking at 15, 20, 60,000 gold. I normally just tell people when they're asking how much to tip, I'll say, hey, whatever you want to tip. I'm not trying to make anybody poor. I know they've already spent a lot of money gathering their reagents or buying them off the auction house. So I just, I take what I can get for the tips, and it normally makes people happier. And I, like I said, I see around a 5K average tip when I tell people to tip whatever they want. Another way to make money right now is going to be with making 3-star materials. So if we take a look at what any of the weapons cost, that's one of my popular ones. I'm a weaponsmith. We've got things like primal molten alloy. We've got obsidian seared alloy. And you'll look at to craft prices are showing up here. This is because of my add-on. It's actually showing the estimated cost in what this item will take to craft based on the materials that I have selected. If you change it from 2 to 3-star, makes quite the impact. So what you've noticed, if you have any kind of crafting profession, is that, let's look at obsidian seared alloy, actually. That's a good one. So we've got the 3 different qualities of obsidian seared alloy. The 2-star is actually the cheapest, so really there's no reason for a lot of the time that you'd ever buy a 1-star. You're always looking at either a 2-star or a 3-star. If you're looking at crafting the highest thing, people always want to go with the 3-star. It has the highest skill bonus, and if you're trying to get your 418 done either in 1 or 2 tries, you're likely going with 3-star materials, or depending on the skill of your crafter. But you'll notice a huge variance in price. The 1 and 2-star obsidian seared alloys, you're losing money on. The 3-star obsidian seared alloys, that's where you're making money. So if you've got a profession where you're able to dump enough points in to get the 3-star materials more often than not, that is going to be a big moneymaker right now because people are buying the 3 stars. So they're not really looking at the prices. These aren't people who are watching the auction house. They're saying, hey, I want to get an item made. What does it take? Okay, they go to the auction house, they buy however many it takes, and that's what it is. So this has been the most solid return on investment so far this expansion. Near the beginning, this was the way that you could be making millions of gold a day is by getting your obsidian seared alloy or one of your 3-star materials, especially for blacksmithing anyway. Your frostfire alloys, your primal molten alloys. These are all the 3 stars where you're getting your money. Again, your 1 and 2 stars, you're going to be losing gold on them, but for every one that you 3-star, that's where the money is. And that's still the case right now. So there are a lot of people who've got some higher skills that are able to maybe squeeze out some better margins because of the way that they've skilled. But if you've got some points to spare and you're able to spec into making your 3-star base materials, so take a look at what the tailoring materials make, or for any of your tailoring gear, for your leather gear, for your plate gear, for your mail gear, the main gear that people are getting, or their weapons, those are the 3-star materials that you're going to make money off of putting on the auction house. It's another thing you want to make sure that you're not getting caught with anybody baiting. So again, before you go to post your 3-star materials, I'm looking here, 980 gold, there's 111 of them, and then back here's 2,000 for 992. So there's a little bit of a drop, but I mean, not really. Nobody's baiting. It's not half the price or anything like that. So while you're reposting your auctions, I'm a blacksmith anyway, so I can go and take a look here. Now, the crafting orders are going to be only on your cluster. So it's not going to be kind of across all of the servers. When you're looking at your materials, so your primal molten alloys, any of your crafting materials, you're going to be in competition with everybody across all the servers. So they're region-wide auction house now. It's no longer something where you're only competing against people on your 3 or 4 servers that are merged. So it is a lot more volatile. There's a lot more people doing it, which is why you kind of have to be on top of pasting it, and you want to be looking out for cancel scans. If you've done your farm and you're just looking to sell your materials, so things like serverite ores, your draconium ore, you're going to want to feather those into the auction house when you do them, and that's just because of how fast people are pasting their stuff to sell on the auction house. So if you dump it all, it may take a little bit longer to sell. So what do we have? 44,271, 45,271, 45,301, 45,477. So as you can see, we're getting quite a lot of ore dumped on all at once here. So if I were to want to sell my ore, what is the 3-star stuff going for right now? 539. So I'm not getting baited. Again, I'm checking my price to make sure that it's not super low. I will go ahead and put 50 in at a time. Make sure my duration is set to low just in case it doesn't sell, then I'm losing less money. And already the price has dropped since I put it on there. Let's try again. 50 gold. So if I would have put all of it on there, then I'm paying more of a deposit on it. Less likely for it to all sell immediately, and someone's just going to paste on top of me anyway. And someone's already dropping. So people are dropping the price down right now. There's really no reason to do that. If you're selling items, the only reason that you'd want to drop a price is really if you're trying to annoy somebody else. There's no gain to you. It's not going to make your items sell quicker unless it's overpriced. Again, people are buying materials because they need them. They're not buying them for any other reason. They're not buying them because they know it's a good price or anything like that. People are buying them because they need them. So you're not trying to sell them to somebody who's wanting to buy a good deal. You're just looking to sell your items for the best price that you can get. There we go. So there's one that's sold. 50 of them. Feather in another 50. Again, checking my unit price to make sure that I'm not getting baited by anyone. Another 50 gold, making sure I'm not getting baited. Another 50. So I like to do 50 at a time. If you're doing a few things, so if you're doing like draconium, ceravite, I just kind of rotate through each of them. 14, that's not a great price, but the prices on everything have kind of been dropping lately. It makes it difficult. Do another 50 here. There we go. So it does move quickly, but I would, again, recommend feathering it into the auction house and not putting it all in at once. Just going back and forth, making sure that you're not getting caught with a bait price. All right, at the same time, I'm kind of watching trade chat. If you want to post some kind of, like I like to make it a little clever for, I'm looking for a blacksmith, asking people if they've got stuck with a low quality craft, if they want me to recraft it for them. I paste that in chat, and I'll often get a few people. So I normally make 5 to 10 weapons a day, and if I'm getting anywhere from 1 to 10k each, even let's say it's on the low run, so 1k, then that's 10k a day where it's for the hour or two that I'm sitting watching the auction house. I've been doing less auction house sitting lately than what I've been doing before, just because a lot of the prices are kind of dropping through the floor. So for any guaranteed gold, you're going to want to still look at gathering farming. So you're mining, your herbalism. And it also helps if you have an alchemist in your guild. Instead of paying maybe premium for some of the potions and files, you can drop some materials on them so that, I've got what do I have? My flask collection. I haven't had to purchase any flasks yet. I send the materials to, what have I got here? My elemental chaos. I've got my howling runes, my versatility files, my files for farming, finesse, and perception. So anything that you can not buy off the auction house is a big is a big gold saver as well. So my herbalism, I've noticed that the prices on herbs have really been non-existent, I'll say. So I've been depending a lot on just sending my herbs to to scribes and to alchemists, and them turning it into raid materials for me. So I hope you guys found this helpful. Again, I didn't go a lot into the actual using of the add-ons, so I will say, that's really up to you for which one you want to use. TSM, if you can get over what the UI looks like, it is a way more powerful tool. But you need to have something with cancel scan. If you're going to be using the auction house, you're going to need to be able to cancel scan to take your items back down and put them back up again. Yeah. So hopefully this was helpful to you guys. I know it's not making the millions of gold a day like it used to, but there is still gold to be made. Take advantage of your favorites list so you can watch some items. Frequent cancel scans, a full scan of the auction house is going to update your list of what things are going for. And yeah, just keep an eye on the prices. So I hope this is helping you guys make a little bit of gold, and I will keep trying to improve these guides as the times change. I know just a month ago it was a lot easier to make gold than what it is right now. So we'll see, as less people start playing, then some of the prices tend to go back up. It depends on how many people are farming and what everybody needs. So keep your eyes on the auction house, and I hope you guys make some gold. We will catch you next time. Do not forget to like and subscribe if you found this video helpful. And if you haven't already seen my guide on the gathering professions, then you can check that one out as well. All right, see you guys later.